Welcome back. In the previous steps, we focused on a single table course. We looked at different attributes that can be present in the course. We looked at different annotations that you can use with it, and we also looked at different kind of queries. We wrote queries using JPQL, and also we wrote queries using native queries. Now let's shift our attention towards relationships. What you're seeing here is a simple spreadsheet. What we have in here is the table course with the data for the course. So the course table has two columns, right? ID and name. I'm ignoring the update date and the created date kind of columns. So effectively, actually the course column has two columns, ID and name. 10,001 JPA in 50 steps. The ID is the primary key for it. So if I give 10,002, then I know it identifies only one row in this specific table. That's basically this row. So this is the course table with an ID and a name. The other tables which we want to bring in into this course are student, passport, and reviews. The high level relationship goes like this. A course can have multiple students, right? So single course JPA in 50 steps can have multiple students enrolling for it. And also, if you look at the reviews, a course can have multiple reviews as well. So one student might be giving a 5-star, other student might be giving a 4-star review and things like that. So a course can have multiple reviews as well. The other relationship is between a student and a passport. A student can have one passport and the passport is associated with a student. So we have different entities in here: course, student, passport, and review, and there can exist different kinds of relationships between them. Let's quickly look at the different entities. We already looked at the course entity. What we want to do is we want to create a student entity with the ID and a name. We would create a passport entity with a ID and a passport number. We'll have number as a string because the passport number sometimes can have something like E104 or E, a letter also present in here. So we'll represent number using this string. So we'll represent the passport number using a string, and we'll have a ID and a number. And the review table will contain a ID, a rating. A rating is basically a rating of the course 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also a description of the rating. One of the things that you need to remember is right now we don't have any columns to represent the relationships. So who are the students for this course? 10,001? I don't really know at this point in time. We will work on this as the course goes on. For now, let's try and focus on the relationships, different relationships between these tables. So course to student. So a course can have multiple students. So this course 10,001 can have all these 3 students enrolling for it. And looking at the other way from the perspective of a student, Ranga can enroll in all these 3 courses. So the relationship between course and student is called a many-to-many relationship. A course can have many students, and a single student can enroll in multiple courses. This is called many-to-many relationship. Let's consider the relationship between student and passport. A student can have only one passport. So Ranga can have only one passport. Let's say his passport number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the only passport he can have. Looking at the other way, a passport can only be associated with one student. So when I say E1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there can only be one student which it is associated with. This kind of relationship is called one-to-one relationship. The relation between student and passport is a one-to-one relationship. I'll not go into the complexities of dual citizenship and other kind of stuff in here. Let's assume that the relationship between student and passport remains one-to-one. Let's move on to the relationship between a course and a review. A course JPA in 50 steps can have multiple reviews, right? So I can have a review saying 5-star. I can have another 5-star review with a different description by a different student. So a course can have multiple reviews from different students. When you look at it from a perspective of a review is always associated with a single course. So when I say review 50,001, it's always about a single course. So when I look at it from the perspective of a course can have multiple reviews, but a single review can only be associated with one course. These kind of relationships are called many to one relationship. You can have a course with many reviews, but the review can only be associated with one course. This is called many to one relationship. In this video, what we looked at are examples of the entities we would be creating later, and also we looked at the different relationship between some of the entities which are present in here. There are other relationships which exist, for example, between student and review and other stuff that you can think about. But for now, let's focus on the entities and the relationships that we talked about. In the subsequent steps, we would start defining the entities and defining the different kinds of relationships between them. Until next step, bye bye.